Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment in the series that we here in the Canyon, Susan, I, these guys, all the guys, we call Quickviews. And we don't call them Quickviews because they're quick. We don't do anything quickly around here. Short video in the Canyon, under half an hour. Because I have said, and I will say again, I don't trust a 7-minute review. Because a 7-minute review implies that somebody took that product, whatever that product might be, they tested it for a period of time that we don't know how long that is. They formulated some opinions. They probably wrote some script. And you get the 7 minutes that are left over from that. That's not how we work here. We take a tire. This tire came into the shop, into the Canyon with I don't know how much use on it. It looks a little dusty, but this is X2SS, and I see no feathering, no wear. It still has some of the mold release stuff stuck on it. It is a 1.55-inch Baja Claw TTC from RC4WD Drive, which many of you will know is, without question, my favorite scale tire, because it does not perform like a scale tire. It's crazy to me that these actually exist. And when RC4WD Drive Danes sees fit to make us a tire in X2SS and not X2S3, which I classify as the compound nobody asked for, you get what you have here, which is like it's goo. Which is why it's also odd that it was fitted with, like, I would call it a medium soft. It's just below a medium. And we don't have a lot of options. Because this is a foam that is a hair over 1 inch wide. I would call it maybe 27, 28 millimeters wide. So the foam for that, this is another tire that falls into that problematic zone. The Clerm. The fake KLRM, the Pin Seeker, Boom Racing Max Grappler. You have tires that are in these neat sizes. This is a 4.5-inch tire, and I love a 4.5-inch tire. I would say the 4.65 is probably my favorite tire size overall, and not just because the Canyon Trail comes in that size. But then you get what RC4WD Drive does to us, which is this tire is 30 millimeters wide, mounted, which is really skinny. So 30 millimeters wide, 4.5 inches tall, aka, let's keep it metric for the folks, 115, with a pretty soft foam. It brings up questions in my head, like, what is this for? Somewhere out there, I'm assuming, someone is running a 155 that's 4.5 inches tall. But typically, a 155 looks like this. You know? So, like, this is actually a little bit wider than that. So, we have 3 of them mounted up, as is tradition. Ventilated in 2 spots. 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. 4 millimeter holes punched through the center of the carcass. And they're so sticky, even the foam tries to stick to them when you're trying to mount them. And as I just mentioned, these are 155s. In my zeal to trade things out, I had a singular set of 1.55-inch steel wheels, formerly on Lil Fella, the CMX, MST, CMX, and they are gone. They have gone on to their forever home. They're probably on a trailer or something somewhere. So I only have one set of 155s, and they are these. Someone in the comments, please tell me what these are. 4 bolts on the back. The ring is literally just a stamped piece of aluminum. It does not stick to the magnet. So this is one of the lightest wheels I've ever encountered. But beyond that, whatever this is, and this is relevant to the discussion, this is the worst wheel I've ever encountered in my entire life. I successfully managed to mount one of these. I have 8. You just saw one of them. I have 8 1.55 tires in my hands currently. I have 1 set of rims. I successfully mounted 1 of the 8 because the beadlock, the ring is beveled. The inner ring is also beveled. Were these designed by someone who has never used a beadlock wheel in their lives, the tire has to catch that little, like, 2mm lip. As soon as you put any stress on the screws, it just squirts the tire out. I tried mounting these without foams in them. I tried mounting them without the rings in them. Just try to, like, stick that in like that, put the other side in like that, and tighten the screws down, and it will still, you'll tighten the 4 screws down, and a bead will be pushed out like that, with no ring. As soon as you put the ring in, all hope is lost. So they have been mounted instead. We did an unintentional upsize. And I don't really, do we do we even really classify this as an upsize? These are 1.55 inch. They are anything X2 SS. You better come with the juice, or you're done. So similar to stretching your 1.9 onto a 2.2, I am now grabbing the other 3 because I don't remember which direction this wheel has to face. It has to be this way. So we're stretching, but we're not stretching as much. We're stretching half as far as putting a 1.9 on a 2.2 rim. So these are RC4WD drive. These are the stock wheels that would come with a Marlin, or I presume anything in that TF2 range. So we are sticking with RC4WD drive to RC4WD drive. And if you want, so I didn't think that the mountability problem was with the tire. I was 99% sure that it was with the wheel. And that was pretty much confirmed as soon as I just grabbed the 1.7s and stuck them in there. So they will be tested on 1.7s, but with how soft that foam is, and you will see, I will exhibit here momentarily. That foam, I don't know. We had a discussion amongst the community about standardizing the foam in order to standardize the tests. And that's great, and I'm all for it. But here's what I think the case comes down to. That will work for, we'll make that normal tires. If a tire is a 465, 475 in that 43 to say 50 millimeter width, so anything from a Canyon Trail, the recently tested Cross Black Rock, Deep Woods, anything from J Concepts, anything still coming out of Duratrax, pretty much anything out of Proline, a standardized insert will absolutely do the trick because we can do it. But then you get a tire that's 4.5 inches tall and 30 millimeters wide externally, which means your foam is an inch wide. And I'm looking over here at the foam rack. I do not have a surplus of 1 inch wide foams. It's actually a little under the 115 once mounted. Oh, no, wait, 114. I think that's right there. And the width mounted, it does swell up a little. 36, which is still remarkably narrow. So I'm sitting there looking at our usual test participants and going, who is the guy that is going to take these out on the course? And when I said that the foam is very soft, it's not just that the foam is soft. We have an important thing to mention here. This, and I hope the zoom will bring in, I need light behind it. There you go. See that little guy right there? 1.43 millimeters thick. That is the punch out from the vent hole in the tire. So the center of the carcass is 1.4 millimeters thick, which is just enough tension on the caliper to hold the rubber in place. And it was really difficult to get in there. If we do this, that's how soft that rubber is. You can actually see it squidging out. Because X2 SS is very soft. Like, it won't it doesn't even have the force to push it back. It's just kind of coming up to a millimeter. So the carcassal thickness is under 1.5 millimeters, which is very thin. X2SS is very soft. Even when mounted, we can make it stick to itself. So, like, forward drive on these absolutely should not be a problem. This side hilling, we might see some issue, but I don't know if there's an off-the-shelf option for... I don't know who's buying these, because I heard the argument made for several tires, including the Boom Racing Max grapplers when I tested those, that they come with a really firm foam because they're designed for biscalers, four-scalers. So they're designed with a really firm foam because somebody's going to put a 10-pound hard body rig, put them under a 10-pound hard body rig. I would not. The test gentleman for the day. He's thankfully is not that heavy, but I think he's going to bag these out quite a bit. And why he was chosen is that the tires he arrived with, you might notice a real similarity in size here. The 1.55 Baja Claw and the 1.9 Element Pin Seeker, which these claim 4.7. I don't know about that, guys. These tires are physically identical. So we know who the Pin Seeker came on, and we know his capabilities. He's the guy. He's the guy that tests stuff. Baseline is the tester man. And the other vehicle that I had tried to put them on initially, I couldn't get the RC four-wheel drive hubs over the hexes. I got a hex so stuck. It's right here, as a matter of fact. It's completely ruined. Can you see the out of round? Yeah, I think you can. It's a little ovaled now. I tried to file the edges. Like, this hex was just all black anodized. Yeah, we beat that to death because it's amazing when you use this guy and say your hub doesn't fit onto your hex and you go like this. Oh, your hub fits on your hex now. Your hub fits on your hex now to the point where it's never. Sorry, guys, to where it's never going to come off. So that was my zeal. I overzealed. Did I get it right? Oh, baby, we're in business. For a long minute there, I was worried that I put the wrong. I mounted a tire backwards. I did not. So what are we gonna do? It's Quickview. We're running through the whole Quickview deal. I'm not 100% sure who these are for. I don't know who's running a 155 that is 4.5 inches tall. Somebody. And 30 millimeters wide. That said, as much as I try not to get my hopes up, y'all know me, man. I love a Baja Claw. What's my favorite short course tire? Baja Claw. What's my favorite scale tire in the 1.9? Baja Claw. I see no reason that I'm not going to like these. And then at the same time, I keep running through my head, where would I put them? Like, what do they go on? They're 4.5 inches tall, which is what I kind of like for a portal. But they're 30 millimeters wide, and they are soft as a goose down pillow. So we're going to find out. We're going to see what kind, like the forward drive should be off the chain, but we don't know until we know. And we're all going to know together because this ain't no 7-minute review, baby. This is outside time. It's time for outside time. We're going to take these 155s / 1.7s. I'm hoping that extra 0.15 inches of rim will, like they certainly don't look odd. I think they probably actually look better than they did when I managed to get a 1.55 to mount in there. Yeah, if you have a 1.55 and it's fighting you, get some 1.7s. Bosh. Clipboard. 155 Baja Claw. The 10. We get a number. Let's Let's do it. So I am concerned, and I think rightfully so, about the side hilling. If you do some F1 tire warm-up maneuver, if you do a little fast slalom, you can watch the tires like smearing over on the wheels. But the drive should be right there. Yeah, I mean, I had to make the tiniest bit of steering adjustment, and that's coming in cold. Let's see, one-hander. They're a little short to pull the ledge. Yeah, the amount of steering input, I'm putting like 5% steering to one side, just enough to get the side of the tire to deflect the tiniest bit, and away they go. I mean, lightweight scale rig is not a, this is one hand. Oh, got to cut it back a little. There's no fallback at all. They do not fall back. If and when you get to a position where you're kind of squidging it out of traction a little, I don't know if I can even recreate it. There's zero traction hop so far. Like right there, there's just so much bite. There's so much bite. Every time I drive these, in any type of Baja Claw, and by the way, the short course Baja Claws are X2SS as well, which is insane. There was a little spot. We got a little hang up. It doesn't slide. There's no slip, there's no traction hop. Should have a little low on the ground clearance right there. We'll get a little belly hang. But any adjustment, any lateral adjustment, these tires just go that way. How fine the control is, the amount of fidelity in these is sickening. Forward drive. Let me see. Forward drive. Here's how you can get traction hop out of them. Forward drive's a 9.8. So in reasonably short, okay, we're gonna try this right here. Because we're losing we're almost, this settles down to like a class 1 height. Remember, the more you stay to the right, the more absolute dry. It's just stupid. Let's talk about other things. Let's talk about tangential things. X2 S3, the compound nobody asked for. Like, why? Anyone explain to me? Like, they longer wearing? Maybe? I don't know. X2 S3 at best, you go, well, this is okay. And if you compare it against companies that have other, let's call them medium compounds, Team OT6 KLR with the trail spec yellow, Proline with G8, they annihilate X2 S3. And let's not forget, RC4WD Drive used to make X3, which is a compound that actually makes more sense to me, because that was like their hard compound. Great. Rock bouncer, basher, pure trail rig, whatever. I don't know what X2 S3 is for. I do know what X2 SS is for, which is just absolute forward grip. Oh, we got to do the gut shot here, because otherwise this tire is going to pull another 9.8 here. Let's see, right here. This is the more difficult line right here. You can see the drive. Oh my my God, it did it. It was a 9.7, but all I had to do was find the right attitude. 9.8. We are going to find out right about now how bad is it going to side hill on these foams? Because a 9.8 forward drive should not side hill majestically. So the question, which will be answered, is can an incredible amount of grip, and these, you can see that guy drooping down there, basically looks like a tire that would be on a farm tractor, what I call the chevron, which is because I call it that because that's what it is. That chevron makes a tire much more resistant to sliding sideways. I'm making a hand chopping gesture from right to left, sliding. It doesn't want to slide because the lugs try to catch that. Right here. Oh, okay, I thought I would see that rear tire. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. I thought I was going to see that. Okay, we are in a. There's an intermediate step. There's like a trough. We're in that trough. I thought for sure. There we go. I thought that was rolling out immediately. You can see that kind of. There's a longitudinal line there. So we're going to have to enter higher because when we got out on that river rock, we slid quite a bit. So, up. Yeah, they're so mushy. Can we, because none of us can see what the front tire is doing. And I imagine it's smearing across the rock face. Try to keep it real slow. But any steering input uphill is going to, oh, I could see that rear. Oh, that rear is smudged way up. We got to stay out of the trough. Hold it, hold it. This is definitely that circle of total available grip. I'm going to try to hook it. Oh. Get past there. Hook it, hook it. Oh, I could see it. I could see it, that front tire. Look at it. Yeah, there's nothing. But okay, so the midsection of the big side hill right here is okay. There's nothing on the side hill under 45 degrees. So you're like, oh, 45 degrees? we have okay, right here is about 55 degrees. We have sacrificed all in the name of forward drive here. The tire is so thin and so, that was like a little sneaky bump preview. That was flat as a laser. So let's see. Oh yeah, you put any weight transfer onto the rear tire, it just goes like the dude in an old 50s. Oh, I'm gonna get you, you Jets and Sharks. Just runs over and stabs his switchblade into a tire, and that back tire just goes. They can't handle any weight transfer. But my God, the amount of forward drive is crazy. Side hill ability, I mean, oh geez. So we've kind of established that like a 7 is as bad as you can do. And I know it's not the tire, but we're judging the, we're gonna go like a 7.5, which is gonna just throw the wrench into all the works, because we give to get, and we gave a lot to get that forward drive. I want to say, and I could be very wrong in this assertion, despite that I'm asserting my own stuff. I think there's only two 1.9 tires that have pulled this lip here without a bump. Oh, come on. Without a bump or the shuttle move. There it is right there. So ordinarily what you have to do is you got to come over here, you squidge the rear end around, and then once you get that angle of attack on there, it pulls right over that ledge. Right under his rear bumper, it's actually just a hair past vertical. There's a little part right. All I can guess is that it's the wacky wall walker nature of the compound and the composition of the tire. If you catch this thing while it's rolling, you will put it back on the wheels. Any amount of throttle, as long as you're not on your roof, any amount of throttle and you're back over. And aside from pure side hilling, they honestly don't squidge out as much as I thought they would. Like I thought it would be, like right there, I thought we were going in the bucket. Like for sure that front was gonna overload, collapse. Ooh, All right. You've got a thing you've got to do here, little Baja Claw, which is pull the L right here, the little top, see, it's shaped like an L. You pull that L without a bunch of hopping and bumping. Oh, it's right there. Ooh, I got to find the spot to put those 30s. Oh my goodness. So that was just application of throttle. There was no bump. I got to see maybe 3 little baby hops. If one tire has something to bite on, you're moving forward. This is a tire that drives. I say things drive light. I say things drive heavy. These tires drive tall. They are basic. Look at that front tire. Mush. On rock, you're basically looking at a ground clearance of a Class 1. But they drive like a 475. Like, I have not felt myself get hung up in spots that ordinarily on 465s and 475s I would get hung up. There's like an X factor here, beast. We're going to have to dial it back a little bit. I am going to give it a 9.7. Just because I had to do some little, like a 9.8, 9.9, and we don't hand out 9.9s around here, would have just, I gave it a little, 3 traction hops, loses you 1/10 of a point. I think they're going to manage to recover. Well, and now we're getting into a problem. We're in that halfway zone, and we're getting into a spot where my hopes are so high that it feels almost irresponsible. I can't wait to see this thing do actual proper bumps. So we're looking at maneuverability and positionability. Ooh, the height is biting us right here. As I said, you just need one tire to be biting in somewhere, and I have 0 tires biting in anywhere. The further you get left, the worse it gets, unless, oh, look at that front. Like silly putty. It's like silly putty on wheels. Turned it so sharp, still managed to get the bumper over. And the real X factor, the thing that isn't directly scored, when the front end gets really heavily loaded and not in a side hill environment, that's usually the tumbly tea kettle maneuver. Now you're just going to swap ends. It doesn't swap ends. These wheel tire combos are not heavy. They're not weighted in any way. I would be amazed if we were even at 500 grams for all four. They drive not heavy. They drive solid. Side hilling is the weakness. Maneuverability is in with the strength. Forward drive and just outright maneuverability. I'm still not 100% sure who these tires are for. I've gotten to a point where I honestly feel like I'm judging the tires overly harshly. Like my expectations are now so high that I expect them to be so eminently capable at everything, kind of like that. They were awarded a 9.6 at Oblivion because of being what they are, 4.5 inches tall, that you're going to jam bumpers a little bit because you're just that much lower. Class 1 guys are like, what are you even talking about over here? I don't know why. This tire, I have yet to meet a Baja Claw I don't like. You do this, you're getting it. Yep. There's absolutely no loss of forward motion. The vehicle never maneuvered in any position that I didn't place it in myself. We'll just write it down right now. Daphne's third, 9.8. I don't know. I genuinely don't know where to go with this because I had expectations. It's X2 SS. It's a Baja Claw. So I'm like, yeah. Is side hilling aside, obviously, is this somehow doing better than a 1.9 Baja Claw? I need to find somebody to 3D print me some inserts for these. They might be weapons. Absolutely no hesitation. That's the medium line. Harder line is over here. Get a little belly drag, and it doesn't even matter. When I say forward drive 9.8, what I mean is forward drive 9.8. Now, this is what I'm talking about. If you have witnessed other quick views and junk views where I talk about bump, the rear tires never left the ground. It bumps dead straight. I'm just gesticulating with my right hand. I'm not touching the steering wheel. Whatever direction you're pointed in, when you bump, you continue moving in that exact direction. Okay, let's get over to the tougher side here. It's almost hard to bump because it's hard to put the rig in a position where you need to bump it. Like, we're bumping just because that's the test. That's the most donkey I can get out of it. A gross over-application of throttle because get about a little attitude and you're up. That's a 9.8 forward drive. So obviously in bump, I'm gonna have to go 9.7. I wanted to go 9.8, but I started thinking we're gonna run out of numbers. Now these should have plenty of grip to do to execute the flop. All right. So what we do, steer towards the ground, forward throttle. They're a little short. Steer up, reverse. Oh, buddy. All right. And it makes sense. It makes absolute sense. If you look at just the full, come on. If you look at the full Chevron tractor tire nature of this tread pattern, When we do this way right here, and you look at the way those chevrons are pointing, there's nothing helping us flip over, right? It's just going to, kind of forward drive us. But when you do this, yikes! So we've seen this really, light bulb, when a tire has a grotesque amount of forward drive. It is going to want to use the reverse bump when on the ground, because then the tire is acting like it's pointing forward. When we do forward bump, it just... How about the whip? Ooh! Wait! Say ya! I'm just making noises at this point. I am going to give it... Part of my brain said 9.6, the other part said 9.8. We're just going to give it a 9.7. We're just going to give it a 9.7. Surface transition at Teardrop, the place where I think if this tire has any chance to lose some points, it's here, because again, it lost points in side hilling because it has potentially more forward drive than we have seen out of a tire, period. We've got to put these on something like immediately. I don't know. Comment below. You know who runs a smaller tire. Like, we ain't putting these on Ironsides. He would just mush them into the ground. Side hilling is going to suffer on whoever they go on. These cannot go on Old Blue. He will mash them into oblivion. So, finding who these go on is going to be... It's so stable, all right? That is a, I don't know, 6-inch, just straight drop off. Let me just putter right back up to the position that I was before. And, okay, so with attitude, nothing. Drives solid. Drives tall. Isn't either of those things. This is a half-melted marshmallow. I gotta pick an analogy, am I right? Like, Wacky Wall Walker, I think, is probably the closest. If we can get a bumper clear, I think these tires will have enough juice. Get out. Just get directly out. I can't give these tires another 9.7, 9.8, right? It's never even been a little out of shape. Does anybody make a 1.7-inch 3D printed insert? I need the softest outer. They're about 27 millimeters wide. I'm going for it, you know? I can't, you see the bumper just augering in. I can't. Oh, I think I had it. Oh, look at this. We're just, what do we do? We're just stuck. Wait, no we're not. Oh, I was on a big pile of rocks. I gotta stop futzing around with this tire. Surface transition. We're gonna give it an absolutely cruel, arguing with myself the whole time, 9.5. So we give it one last run on dry. Did anything change? No. None whatsoever. the rig has done so many self-rights, it's completely full of dirt. I mean, look at the tires from the sides. He's a dirt ball right now. All right. That's a 9.8. That's what a 9.8 looks like. And then we introduce a little turbojet. Let's really put some on there. I want to see water running. There we go. What do we all think? Like, I think the traction's going to drop off. Because X2SS is sticky icky. Ooh, wee. I speak here with truth and honesty. When I did this just a moment ago, compared to when I did this when it was dry, it does not feel different at all. It feels exactly the same. It doesn't care that it's wet. It ain't care even a little bit. So it maintains the same score, which is, I'm pretty sure, the highest wet score that we've put up so far. So ladies and gentlemen, the 1.55 Baja Claw TTC in the magical, inexplicable X2SS compound scored an average, had a cumulative score, I guess, we can do it either way, an average of 9.49, or for a cumulative score of 94.9 out of basically 99. We don't hand out 10s. The scoring only goes to 9.9. 94.9, and I want you to consider, if you will, that on the side hill it got a 7.5. So you could give it 2 more points, I would say. And I honestly don't think that going to another insert that would provide side hill ability, basically you just need something with a firm inner and a pillow soft outer. And like, I want to go in the workshop, get some blue, but I can't. I have to make inserts for these tires because they're 155s running on 1.7s. So this thing is going to need some very specific inserts. I want these in service real bad. That 94.9, which in reality could quite easily be like a 97 cumulative, this might be the most drive I've encountered in a tire. I want to say it's got more drive in it than the 1.9, which I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. The 1.9 is wider. What? Hey, man. Listen, man. Whatever. It just works. I will put this up in the toppinest echelon of tires for forward drive. This tire drives like a rupture forward drive. I'm still not 100% sure who they're for. Like, what is the real... I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and they look pretty great on him there, right? Like, I think we agree. But a 4.5-inch 155, it's a thing. It's weird. The size, though, is apparently... I never once felt how narrow these tires were. Barely 37 millimeters wide. They drive like 45. They drive like 475 by 45 wide. They really do. They make no sense to me whatsoever. So sound off in the comments below. Do you have any experience with 155 Baja Claw TTCs? Do you have any notion of where I can obtain 1.7-inch 3D printed inserts for a 155 Baja Claw TTC? There's a thing that isn't a thing. Or, I mean, like, what do I do? What do I do for an inner? I would love to just put a Canyon Custom in there with reticulated polyethylene, cut everything to fit. But like fitting that 1/7 ring, that's a problem, right? So, comment below. I thank you for watching. I would hope that you would like if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't. Do consider channel membership. Consider getting yourself a Crawler Canyon t-shirt or hoodie or what have you. I make like $2 each. We loved having you. This was I don't think the super accurate word is cathartic. But what this did was feel real good, because yes, it is nice to be pleasantly surprised. I'm not opposed to being pleasantly surprised, but having a hope or an expectation, and that hope or expectation being not just met, but wildly exceeded. I never saw the 155 Baja Claw doing even as well as the 1.9, and it kicked it in the face. Yes, we may have a little bit of kismet. We may have a little bit of impromptu perfection. Like, I might put these on something else and be like, but then again, I might not. I think side hill is all that needs helped with these. And I got to figure something out. Help me figure something out. And in between now and then, please went on. Do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. I will see you in the next one. These tires are... This combo. Man. If only side hilling didn't exist, right? If only we never had to side hill. What a world that would be.